Welcome back to the Mystery Garage, and in today's episode, the drag car is back. We've got a few things to do on it, clean it up, get it ready for winter storage, as well as I'm hoping to take it on one last cruise. So let's jump right into it. Welcome back to this week's episode. Now, in today's episode, there's a couple things I want to cover off. Last time we took this car out to the drag strip, I really just rolled it in the trailer that night, and I basically left it in there ever since. So, yesterday I just rolled it out of the trailer, put it here in the garage with intention to get some work done. Now, the biggest things we need to do is because of drag racing, and if you remember, there is absolutely no coolant in here. We're getting ready for what is the BC winter. It's generally a mild winter, but we definitely hit below zero. So I don't ever want to have any issues of the water inside of the motor freezing. That would be a very bad thing. So we're going to flush all that water out. We're going to put some coolant in it for storage over the winter. Also have an issue of the rad fan running all the time. And I'll show you kind of why that is the case. And we're going to rectify that in today's episode. Then I want to take off the slicks, which are actually still on it, which they shouldn't be. I'm going to put on some street tires, and I'm hoping we can take it out for a cruise. It's a nice sunny day today, which is pretty rare in the fall. It's been raining for like a month straight, and actually the schedule tomorrow is rain for as long as I can see. So it'll be really nice to take the car out today for a nice drive, and hopefully get some good driving videos in. I miss this car. I love driving it. So today, hopefully we can get a little bit of that under our belt. But first things first, we got some work to do, so let's jump right into it. Now, if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen this car, shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. This is my US spec 1982 Rabbit L. I bought this car originally as an automatic with a 1.7 liter, I think, maybe 1.8 liter. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's a 1.7. I basically rescued it out of a field, and the beautiful part of this car is it is absolutely rust-free. I then started a journey of VR6 swapping it. I then, on this channel, which you guys can go back into the videos, I ended up throwing on a VF9 supercharger. It is relatively a stock motor, stock bottom end. It's still factory sealed. I haven't pulled anything apart. The head's never been off, stuff like that. It does have a coilbracket.com ignition system on it. Has some like external engine, small upgrades, like the SAI is all deleted. Everything is simplified on the motor. I don't have my heater core in the car anymore. It's just basically a 98 VR6 out of a Jetta. It's the O2A box, but I have a O2J shift tower on it, O2J shifter in the car. I have an aftermarket short shift on that shift tower. It's not fantastic, but it's not terrible. It is a nicer short shift, and it was a relatively inexpensive add-on at the time. Like I said, I have the VF Engineering VF9 Vortex supercharger on it, the whole kit. And again, if you guys go back in the videos, I had some challenges with this kit being secondhand and me trying to get it to work on this engine. But we've kind of dialed it in. There is some more improvements still to be made. I plan on doing a lot of that this winter. Actually, part of today's episode is kind of giving you guys the gist of what I intend to achieve for this drag car over the winter. Like I said, I really love taking this thing to the drag strip. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I really, want to get to that 10-second mark, and I think we were at 13.3, but this engine set up the way it is capable of a lot more than that, especially with the weight of this car. So I plan to make some adjustments over this winter to come back swinging in the spring. There is a slight plan to do a mid-season adjustment to go even farther with the engine, and that's probably to a standalone ECU and some other little treats. And then over the following winter, which would be the winter of 2022 to 2023, I'm actually going to pull the engine out, and we're probably going to go big turbo, but we'll see what happens. I really want to see how far we can get this supercharger. Potentially over the winter, upgrades would be engine out, transmission out. We'll probably put a diff in either this transmission or source another one with a little bit less kilometers on it. We'll see. I plan to probably upgrade the pulley on the Supercharged to get a little bit more of the PSIs. We'll see what else I got. Refresh the engine a little bit, probably re-ring it, probably rebuilt head, probably some cams, new chains, stuff like that. And we'll do all of that on the channel over the winter. So that will be kind of a cool thing to kind of ride along with. But for now, we're just gonna winterize it in today's episode. Like I said, pull these slicks off, fix the fan running issue, and drain all the water, flush it with coolant to make sure it's not gonna have any freeze plug blowing out over the winter time because it froze over, stuff like that. Let me show you this rad fan situation. So I'm actually gonna use this car, which will be in a coming episode, so guys, stay tuned for that. But right here you can see that there's an adjustable rheostat. I used exactly the same one, and I can't remember if this is the Moroso or what the situation is here, but what this is it's an adjustable fan control. So you can see this little knob right here. It has a probe that follows this line that actually sticks in the radiator to be like a thermocouple to kind of gauge the temperature of the rad. So what you can do is you can adjust this knob that adjusts the temperature at which your fan comes on. I have this exact model installed in my car. The problem is, and the reason why I showed you this one, is mine's buried way down in there and it's nearly impossible to show you guys. But the issue here is, for some reason, something strange happened to this car a while ago. And when I flick the power on, the fans just come on. No amount of adjusting that rheostat turns the fans off. I actually even checked the wires that feed to it to make sure there wasn't like a short that kept it running. So now the fans run all the time, and during drag season, it was hot in the summertime, it didn't really matter. But what's bothering me now is not only is it winter and it's running all the time, but because this fan runs all the time, I have to constantly disconnect the power. Now, that was causing me a ton of ECU issues at the racetrack that I wasn't putting two and two together. But because I'm constantly on, off to the power for the ECU, I'm constantly hectically managing the ECU being powered on, powered off, powered on, powered off. And it was preventing me at the racetrack sometimes from starting the car. If you listened closely when I turned the key, sometimes I wasn't getting the throttle, electronic throttle body to respond. It wasn't doing its clicking thing. And then I would shut it off, wait a while, turn the power back on, turn the key to ACC, throttle body would click, but it wouldn't happen every time. So I think I'm causing myself harm by constantly turning the power on and power off. It's fine to do it once in a while, but I'm doing it as often as I'm turning on and turning off the car, and that's definitely not healthy. There's no power drain in this car, so there is no reason for me to turn that switch off all the time. I could just probably permanently leave it on. But the issue right now is that fan, with that fan running all the time, I can't. So it's the first thing we're gonna adjust today. I'm gonna do it right now. We'll jump into time-lapse, and I'm gonna basically take that thing completely off. And I have an unused standard fan switch. I'm probably just gonna use the standard stuff. My issue of why I kind of abandoned it in the first place was this was up at the top, because this is a 16 valve Passat rad flipped upside down, and it actually works in this VR6 setup. You can see it lines up properly to the hosing. But I was worried about this sitting in cavitation air, but I think it actually does function just fine because I do have the rad filled. But we'll go ahead and just use this switch and see how well that works. Let's jump into the time lapse. Let's get going.
Smoking on good though, whistle from Pluto. Passing like Saturn, I didn't ring. Paying on my table, there's nothing you bring. I just want blue notes, others want euros. Smoking on good though, whistle from Pluto. Passing like Saturn, I didn't ring. Paying on my table, there's nothing you bring. I cannot fuck with these fat guys, dripping on and she bad times. Taking her back by her ass, I think she in love with my cash size. Put a little hard like bad vibes, can't give me no cash, boo. Don't get a hobby, counting these racks in my pastime. Call back on me, take a champion, man, with a tragedy. My bitch, you look a masterpiece. I'm in a truck like a cavity. Let's drop ask me questions, ain't telling shit. I just wanna get through the Benjamin. Spend it, I'm on bitch on my battery. Charged up, let's just shit. She in my balls like giving it. Cry, you know that I'm getting it. I think this shit is evident. Hold on through no office, stream on me, I'm tricked. Talk to the cops like Kanye. Pick out 3,000, no Andre. I just want blue notes, I just want euros. Smoking out good though, whistle from Pluto. I feel like Saturn, I didn't ring. Get on my table, there's nothing you bring. I just want blue notes, I just want euros. Smoking on good though, whistle from Pluto.
All right, that's it. So I took the time to, you guys saw me pull the whole wiring harness out. I took the time to take it out properly, and I wanted to kind of clean everything up anyways. I wasn't super happy with, because my wires are tucked, with my original job I did. So I just redid a bunch, you know, because I was in there. But it came out pretty clean. That unit's no longer down there. Wiring in this area is way better, completely hidden, which is the way I wanted it. I got the new tires on there, or so not new tires, the old tires on here, so there's no drag slicks on the front anymore. Just drained the coolant, drained the water, put coolant in it. And over here is that unit that I completely pulled out. Very happy that that is no longer in my life. And we're gonna use the factory sensor, the Mk1 sensor, in the radiator. All right, we are ready for a cruise, so let's get started with a cold start and we'll get hitting the road. All right, pulled the car outside, we'll let it warm up, make sure the fans kick on, and then we'll hit the road. And what a beautiful fall day it is for a rip. Here we go. Up after 4,500, something like that. So it's hard to tell what points I shift at. Just kind of tweak the car. It should be faster than it is, at least on the quarter mile. We'll work on that 60-foot time. We'll make some adjustments. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll refresh the motor over the winter. We'll kind of hit next year as hard as we can. And then, like I said, do some adjustments mid-season. And hopefully pick up some even more time. And you know, if I have to, we'll go to turboing it over next winter. But I love this car. It is so awesome. There's lots of little things we can do. A little bit of more weight reduction we can try and work out over the fall, winter, kind of, and then do all these adjustments in the engine bay, make all those changes. We'll come home swinging. video about how driving videos is really hard to just get the feel for the car through a video. This car, different than the VR6 Jedi, is a lot more raw. It feels like you think it would feel. It's rough, it's raw, but something about this, it can be. Too much fun. Too much fun. There we go, that worked beautifully. Battery is still connected. I haven't flicked over the switch, and I won't anymore. It's all set up, it ran beautiful as far as temperature goes. Super happy with that fix. Overall now it will stop me from shutting down that switch, which will hopefully in fact be better for my ECU than it was doing before. So love this car. Really gets me in the mood for taking this thing out more, and if anything can be taken away from me driving the Mark II VR6 last week, it really gave me the urge to get back into mine. And if anything can come of all of this, I need to drive this car more often. So you're probably gonna see this car again more over on the channel over the winter time, especially when we get into playing around in the engine bay, potentially pulling out the motor and giving it a refresh. But for now, guys, thank you very much. The day is running short now. I need to get out there and do some yard work before the rain comes tomorrow and for the rest of the week. But thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, highly recommend that you do. Until next time, take care.